What's up, everybody? We have 10-ish minutes here with Mr. Ryan Muckenhern, of course, to talk about a cartridge. Now, just how we got to deciding which cartridge we talk today is actually thanks to you guys, those of you who follow us on Instagram. Mark, explain what happened.
We did a poll, Jim. We did a versus where the audience got to decide what cartridge they wanted to hear about. It was the 6-ARC, a very popularly requested cartridge, versus the 338 Win Mag, also very popular. We pitted them against each other. You guys chose the 338 Win Mag.
That's right. 57% of you chose the 338 Win Mag.
57%.
Ryan, did you vote?
I did.
Okay. And I believe
I voted for 338 Win Mag.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Jim, you're not supposed to ask people who they voted for.
Well,
it's kind of like a cultural thing.
It's
the world we live in
now.
now.
A faux pas, huh? Yeah. Well, he's got a 338 Win Mag bumper sticker on his car, so it's really obvious. 338 Win Mag is real sign in his yard too. So, anyway, Ryan, tell us about what this cartridge is and why it's why you voted for it.
I love this cartridge, and I was telling Jim before the podcast, it's one I don't own. I never have.
Interestingly enough, I was trying to find, usually in very short order around here, it'd be like, because sometimes we do these things in short order, Jim. I don't know if you know that. You say, oh, we need a 6-ARC, or we need a this, or we need a that, and you just go, I'm going to go talk to so-and-so, and like someone has it at their desk.
Someone in tech support has it.
We didn't have one here, but like you said, Ryan, it's a popular, long-standing, effective cartridge, and yet, how come nobody has one?
It's a lot of gun.
Is it?
I should say nobody here. A lot of people have it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unaware of anybody here who owns a 338 Win Mag.
My dad had one growing up.
And maybe there's an answer for this. Maybe it's related to what we perceive as a good cartridge versus what actually is.
Perception versus reality. Interesting.
Okay. So 338. It's every time I hear the term 338, I expect somebody to be saying Lapua on the end of it.
Yeah.
And a couple people dissed us on our pronunciation of, it's Lap or it's Lap or Lap and Wah or something. But anyway, I always expect to hear that at the end of it. But there's other 338s. It's like a common bullet diameter.
Yeah.
But what makes this one so special?
It's very early 338. It's probably the first commercial 338. There was some other 33s that had predated it and ultimately led to its conception and development as a budding, young, beautiful cartridge. But it's like the first. It's the OG, 1958, Winchester, in a rifle called the Model 70, which a lot of folks know about, specifically the Alaskan, introduced this cartridge along with the 300 Win Mag and the 264 Win Mag and the 458 Win Mag, all based off of the same case, which found its roots with the 375 and 300 H&H. We were talking about that on a previous podcast about what cartridge is the parent of all cartridges, with respect to modern bottleneck cartridges, and the convention states like the .6. In reality, it's probably the 375 or 300 H&H.
How about that?
It's pretty neat.
That is very neat.
Yeah, belted Magnum.
Why do you? But other than just specs and stuff, why do you like it so much? Why is it?
Oh, the
you're
cartridge?
Saying it's it breaks conventional thought and wisdom and whatever.
Modern day shooters, I see a big propensity towards the 6.5 and the 7. Even the 30 seems to be getting a little dated. Although we've had some cartridges come on the scene here in the past couple of years, like the 300 PRC and 30 Nosler and 300 Rum, that are really injecting a lot of fuel back into 30. But a lot of shooters are finding that these, slightly smaller bullet diameters offer them something that maybe they didn't think they could get in a big one. And it is a big cartridge. It's got a lot of recoil. I mean, it's a 225 grain bullet at 2,800 feet per second out of the box. So it's a lot of gun. It's a lot to hold on to. They do have kind of a ferocious recoil to them. I'd rather shoot a 375 H&H than a 338 Win Mag. But the 338 Win Mag probably going to give you a little bit more versatility. So on the downsize of the bullet spectrum, you could hunt whitetails and pronghorn and mule deer. On the high side, you could hunt anything in North America. And, arguably anything on the African continent, if your country allows 33 caliber as a, sufficient diameter for hunting big things, which most countries don't. But it's numbers, it's energy numbers and velocity numbers. probably should get it into that camp.
Going off my notes here, Jim, which you'll see, I brought my laptop today for my notes.
Yeah, you did. Is that a new laptop?
It is. Yeah, the other one broke. So, but
damn shame.
And actually, the printer actually wasn't working as well. Otherwise, I would have printed this. But so I haven't made any big life changes here. But it's saying like when it was offered, pushing a 200 grain pill at 3,000 feet per second.
Oh, sure.
That's a big bullet going fast out of a very, you're talking 1958. There's a hell of a lot of performance there, Jim and Ryan.
Or Jay.
I was gonna say Jay, then I kind of reeled it back in.
Anybody who's watched
like a tuner.
Anybody who's watched the Boston Sunfish guy knows what we're talking about.
But and then and then it was like a lengthened, shortened, blown out 375 H&H case. Is that what's going on there?
A what? Lengthened, shortened?
I mean a shortened. Sorry.
Shortened.
See, if I had these printed, I could have highlighted it, Jim, and the words would have come out correctly.
It is a shortened 375 H&H. Yeah, correct. With new body taper.
Yeah.
Yep. Sharp shoulder.
So you love this thing.
I do. It's a phenomenal cartridge.
But you don't have one.
I don't.
Because it's a lot of gun? That's not a good excuse. You have a super lightweight 308 that, moves you around a little bit. You've shot Mark's 300 WSM.
Which, by the way, Mark shoots way better than I shoot. I just, every time.
It would probably be the one gun that happens.
There's other guns I know for a fact you've shot that buck pretty heavy.
Yeah, and I've shot 338 Win Mags. I just don't hunt anything that warrants the ownership of such an arm. If I was a die-hard elk hunter, or if I was an Alaska resident, or if I lived in BC and could hunt stone sheep every single year, I would have a 338 Win Mag.
Talk to us, Ryan, about too much medicine.
Too much. Well,
because a guy like Mark over here, it would argue can't ever have too much medicine.
So backing up a little bit, and this is not a 300 or 338 Win Mag discussion. It's a 300 Weatherby discussion. When I started hunting Western states, I thought I needed this giant cartridge for shooting pronghorn antelope and mule deer. So I had a 300 Weatherby build, and a lot more confidence in youth at that time in my life. And the first shot, I immediately realized I made a mistake. Like, that's a lot of gun. And the 338 Win Mag is, as much gun, probably a little more. So I rode the recoil struggle bus for many years and then started getting away from that kind of thing because I wasn't hunting, grizzly bears and moose and elk and things that I needed to push bullets through 3 feet of if need be. And so I've gotten away from that. But if I did that more, I'd have a 338 Win Mag.
Yeah, I think so. I think you hit the nail on the head. When I was growing up, Ryan, I started to say this earlier. My dad got I remember going to the store with him when he got that 338. And but that's at the time I was like, oh man, you're gonna hunt elk? You better get yourself a 338.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, at least to me growing up, like that was the big medicine.
Yeah.
To put bull elk down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like the 502 motor. You don't hear a lot about it, but you're like, what do you have in there? 502. Oh, yellow.
Jeez.
Concealed into that
thing allowed within 100 yards of a school.
That's right. Correct. Big medicine.
Big.
Yep.
Which one of these? We have the Nosler Bible of munitions on our table in front of us. Which bullet would you choose in here? They got a number of them.
If
you are going, let's say like moose, bear, something like that.
Between the 225 and the 250 weight class, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
You can go lighter. They make down to 160 grain projectiles, not necessarily Nosler, but other bullet manufacturers go down to a 160 grain projectile. But we're losing quite a bit of ballistic coefficient there. We're losing quite a bit of weight. We're getting a very fast, flat trajectory at that point in time. Mm-hmm. If you had one rifle, it was a 338 Win Mag, and you said, I'm going to hunt pronghorn, something like a lightweight. Actually, maybe they even do it.
They have a 180.
Lighter than that. Got to turn back to a lesser 338. Yeah, 180 Accubon's the lightest Nosler does.
Boy, but that thing cooks pretty good, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Scorching. And that would be a fine choice. I think if you were, and I think it would kill an elk. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But to kind of match what the cartridge is capable of from like a velocity and energy standpoint, with most of these loadings at that 225 to 250, 4,000 foot-pounds of energy is on the table. from the muzzle. That's it's a stomper. So I'd pair with something like that personally.
Right on.
Yeah.
Would you load it yourself, or are you buying factory?
I'd probably load it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like loading. If the factory option shot really well, and the Nosler custom stuff generally always shoots well, save myself some time and energy, but I like loading. I like seeing what the cartridge can do. You can really actually turn it up quite a bit from the box posted stuff.
Yeah.
It's very capable, despite its age. Very capable cartridge.
What do you reckon it's like in comparison to when we come out with a 338 bitch cat?
So the BC,
Jim, let's finish the 6.5 bitch cat first.
Yeah, I know. There's been a bit of a shortage in
little
components
hiatus.
and things. Yes, we are still.
Conceptually, the 338 BC is probably going to lick the Win Mag by a margin. Not huge, but it'll probably beat it for a few reasons. But they'll be very close. Similar application. Long range, big game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you reckon the long range? Capability. It's always such a weird question to ask somebody if you actually really dig into it. When somebody's like, "Well, how far can you shoot that thing?" It's like pretty far.
Yeah.
And with some level of accuracy and stuff like that. Is this a 1,000-yard cartridge? Is it you put it in the right gun and the right setup and the right loading?
Oh, yeah.
It's a 1,500. Whatever.
So. There's nothing stating it's not a 1,000-yard cartridge. There's nothing stating it's not a 1 mile cartridge.
Right.
Yeah, and possibly beyond. I wonder if they have load data for their 300 grain custom competition bullet, which is a very high BC projectile that we usually see in things like the 338 Lapua. Yeah, probably wouldn't be ideal in there. We're eking into a lot of the case capacity. We're getting just below 2,400 feet per second on the top end. Where in comparison, something like the 33 Nosler, which is a little bit more efficient case design, is putting that same projectile out at, drum roll, upper 24s, low 25s. So, hunting, I'm going to still draw my line in the sand at 600 yards and say, that's the farthest I'll ever shoot something.
Right, because of you.
Yeah.
The hunter.
Realistically, with the right projectile, you could exceed that distance. And you'd still have an ethical combination. Especially when paired with a really good bullet like a partition, like an AccuBond, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a hell of a cartridge.
It's a hell of
Mark,
a gun.
do we need to find ourselves in a situation where we need a 338 Win Mag?
Yes.
It was so popularly requested.
I think people are interested in it.
Do you think it's a regional thing? Like when we talked about the 35 Whalen?
Yep.
There's a ton of people. I believe it's didn't you mention
southeast? Yep.
Southeast. They were like,
and
big
Michigan,
thing.
And Michigan, and then Vermont.
Okay.
Yep.
Noted.
Yep.
Is this one? Does this have any regionality?
Oh yeah, I'd absolutely bet Pacific Northwest and Alaska. And again, thinking about the cartridge, the Winchester Model 70 Alaskan, that was the cartridge,
right?
That was chambered for. This, to me, if I wasn't a multi-rifle person, and I was going to Alaska, and I was like, I have to have a cartridge, and it would be on something I could bet on finding ammo, had I left mine at home or it was confiscated at the airport, and something if I was doing a caribou hunt and happened upon a grizzly, the cartridge I would want would be a 338 Win Mag.
Yep. Well, we talk about oftentimes sometimes you're in bear country, but you're not hunting bears.
No.
But you want to have enough gas to handle a situation should it arise. That's a great cartridge for, whether you're hunting a smaller big game like Sitka blacktails or caribou or something like that maybe wouldn't require that, but you still have a good long range or intermediate range performance, but enough oomph to take care of other things should that need come. Be a great choice.
My buddy Matt's dad hunts black bears every year with the 338 Win Mag because it puts them down.
I bet it does.
Yep.
It's starting to make me think this could be a great home defense cartridge too.
Not wrong.
One cartridge to do it all. The 338. That's what we'll title this one. Definitely some a contrast between this and the other popularly requested 6 ARC.
Yeah.
When thinking about smaller, more thin-skinned big game like antelope, I was thinking that would be a cute little cartridge for something like that, though, Ryan. That 6 ARC that we didn't talk about.
I kind of we'll probably get to it in its own 10-minute talk.
We'll have to decide.
It just didn't get first.
Do we if we do more of these cartridge battles?
Right.
Do we just talk about the 6-arc, or do we actually just keep pitting it against other cartridges to see when it finally wins?
I like that, like a consolation losers bracket.
Yeah, something like that.
Until it wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try that.
All right. Well, who knows? If you want to hear about the 6-arc, make sure to follow us on Instagram. Because if you were requesting it and you weren't following us on Instagram, you didn't get to vote, and then that's why your cartridge didn't get picked.
And your vote counts.
That's
if
right.
you vote.
That's right. Does count. Does count. There's none of that overnight, last-minute, random...
That would never happen.
Paper ballots, who knows what. It showed up in a cooler.
Surprise!
We don't have that around here. Okay, before we go too
We did
far
have that
down
around here that one time, Jim,
well,
actually.
Yeah, we are just outside of the state of Dane County. Okay, this is going to go down a bad rabbit hole. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. If you have any questions about the 338 Win Mag, mostly for Ryan, let's be honest, hit us up in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or on Instagram, which again, you should follow us over there and look for more of these. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a good cartridge.
338 Win Mag?
Yeah.
Didn't you at one point, weren't you caught saying, it's not your favorite, but it's like one of your favorites?
Yeah, probably. I've always had an endearment towards it. That and the 340 Weatherby. It's one I really can't pick between. It's too hard. I'm leaning 338 Win Mag because the prolificness of ammunition, but 340 Weatherby due to just raw performance. This cartridge just got more stones than the old 338 Lapua.
Oh my gosh!
What's
What's the parent case of this 340?
So 338 Win Mag is a 375 H&H or 300.
Length and shortened. We covered that.
Yeah,
Both.
2.5 inches cropped. 300, 340 Weatherby, 375 Weatherby, which is an obscure cartridge that nobody talks about. That is a full-length 375 case. No cutting, no cropping.
No cropping, just
Full power.
Just a little necky poo.
Crappie.
Yep, 2.825. That's 0.325 inches difference. Makes a big difference.
More capacity.
Powder.
Yep.
Yes. Add more powder.
So we're getting
medicine.
the 300 grain match projectile out of this one in the low 27s.
Now, is that the same projectile?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
So they were like, oh, we don't want to have 338. We call it 340.
Yep.
See, I hate it when they do that.
It's a doozy.
All these different numbers,
See, they got
and
a
somehow it's the
460.
same projectile.
They've got a 378 Weatherby, which is completely not a 378, it's a 375. They also have a 375 Weatherby, which is different.
So they just always, add 2 or 3 or something?
A couple. Toss it in there. They added 3 on the 378, and they added 2 on the 340.
So they were that kid when you're like,
Evil Roy, man.
I'm good at basketball times infinity. And then somebody said, I'm good at basketball times infinity plus 1. That was Weatherby.
Pretty much.
No offense.
Stones.
265
always
grain
plus
ABLR out of the 340 Weatherby, 2,900 feet per second contrast. 338 Win Mag, 265 at 2,750 feet
I don't
per
mind
second.
some recoil, but that one sounds
Hellacious.
unpleasant.
Hellacious.
Like
Just detach your retina.
It's got a lot of thrust. It's a doozy with a 338. It's got bow.
Snappy.
Yeah. It's just very thrusty. It's a good word I'll use. Whereas the 375 H&H is
I
just
kind of
this
wish
big
you'd quit using that.
thrusty.
I like it. It's provocative.
375 is like a nice push. 338 is a swift kick.
375 is so surprisingly gentle.
Yeah.
It's just like, you kind of, you rocked me back.
Well, it's an old cartridge.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like, hey, you want to do this again? All right, fine.
It's like old man strength. I was in the showroom with a customer last week. We were looking at tripods. Somebody twisted the lock knob on the center column lock on one of the tripods. I could not break it loose. Like, I was like, God! It hurt my thumb. And he goes, here, let me help you. And just ding. He goes, milking hands. 73 years old. I was like, well, see, there you have it. And he's like, oh, you're fine.
I'm sure you loosened it, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't. But he just like this.
Milking hands.
Just didn't even.
Like turning the key on a 97 Silverado, just right over.
Makes you feel bad for those cows.
I know.
That's his milking hands?
To be fair, he was like this big. His hands were like this big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the bones were regular sized. It's just
muscle.
Just meat.
It's like my father. My father's got hands that are, I really don't know how to describe them. Like the hamburger helper gloves.
Yeah.
That's his hands.
My grandfather was a mechanic, and he had it's just his grip, which he loved when you shook his hand to show you.
Oh.
I got these creamy, lotiony desk keyboard hands.
Oh, I am just
as Ruben says, my Ichabod Crane fingers. Yeah.
Thank you for your time today, Ryan.
Yes, thank you very much for
hopefully we gave it its due.
I wonder if Tika still makes the T3X in 338 Win Mag, because that was the closest I ever came to buying one. Was a Tika.
You should
get the snot kicked out of you and then enjoy that buttery.
Yep. I was going to do a Tika build where I pulled off the factory barrel and put a proof barrel on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did a weight analysis first, and actually the super lights, which you have over there, beat the proof barrels out handily.
For weight, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I drop it into an AG composite stock, I can turn that gun into a 5.5 pound 300 Win Mag. Signed, sealed, delivered. Doing it.
Damn it. I like it. I like a lot of what you just said.
I'm going to do a WISM though.
As you should.
I have a 300 Win Mag.
I hate you.
I have a 300 Win Mag. It shoots very good.
It's just long and unwieldy.
So they're the same length in both 300 WISM and 300.
You got mad at him for saying thrusty, and now you're over here with
unwieldy. It's completely different.
Is it wieldy or wieldy?
I always thought it was wieldy.
I do too. Now I feel like an idiot.
No, you're probably right.
No, wield. Internet.